Hello everyone, thanks for joining today's Tech Talk. My name's Ryder Morton. I'm the Business Solutions Manager for our public infrastructure systems at Treadwell. Appreciate all of you joining. Bit of an intro into our nature tread space. So this looks after everything from the public infrastructure front. So your relative boardwalks, small pedestrian bridges, shelters, access ramps, balustrades, all made of our FRP or fiberglass reinforced plastic products. So as some of you are aware on previous tech talks, we specialize in FRP, fiberglass reinforced polymer systems. They are composites materials made up of a matrix, your glass being a variety of styles of glass reinforcements. These give the product its shape and structural performance. And we've also got the resin that is a thermoset polymer, which encases all the encases all the glass and gives it its corrosion, rust, rot-proof benefits and long-term performance. Treadwell's products within all of our public infrastructure systems also includes additives such as colour, UV stability and fire retardants, which enhance the product performance, especially in some of these Australian or New Zealand conditions. As many of you are probably aware, the general benefits of FRP products that Treadwell offers are the corrosion, rust and rot-proof benefits. That's probably the main driver for the likes of asset owners and government corporations. There is no protective coatings required with Treadwell systems, so our products are internally pigmented with colour, ensuring that there's no ongoing coating requirements with our systems such as Boardwalks. And there's obviously long-term cost benefits in using FRP over your traditional materials. All of our products and Boardwalks have a 55-year design life, and that has been case proven in some of the harsher environments across Australia and New Zealand. I'll kick straight off into the topic of today's Tech Talk, which is standard designs for our Boardwalk system. So we've been delivering Boardwalks for over 30 years now, and that doesn't include the decking that doesn't include just the decking, as some of you may have experience with using traditional materials such as steel or timber for the subframe and an FRP decking. This includes the entire arrangement, so all your posts, joists, bearers, bracing and decking as a FRP product. So why would you use a standard design from Treadwell? The idea is simple. They're built with compliance in mind. So considering your standard track classes 1, 2, 3 and 4 and various loads on those track classes, they're built with compliance and as a pre-engineered solution. So offering time saving for design without having to arrange an entire system. This is pre-engineered and pre-designed. We have considered the necessary Australian and New Zealand standards, such as AS/NZ 1170 for structural integrity, AS 1428 for your accessibility and DDA compliance, and 2156 for track classes 1 to 4. So we've got two standard designs which I'll unpack today. Our standard Brighton series design. So this is our most commonly used system. It's typically used for track class 1 and 2. So your increased widths of boardwalks and higher loadings, but it does work for both a 3 kPa and 5 kPa loading. The joist centers are spaced out at 750 mil and typical pile centers at 3 meters. So that's based off a standard design. We're not bound by those dimensions, but as a pre-engineered solution, that's what we're offering. Our latest standard design highlights no anti-crush inserts required. So all of our standard designs are obviously using open sections such as I-beams, PFC style as your joist and bearer arrangement, and open sections offering a quicker install. Brighton series specifically has an arrangement where the bearers are easily bolted into the posts and the joists simply sit on top of those bearers. So it makes for a much speedier install. increasing adaptability for corners and turns in complex environments such as forests, rainforests, and natural environments. So as I said earlier, we can do up to a 3-meter wide boardwalk with this system. I'll now show you a cross section of the design. So as I said earlier, your bearers based on the bottom and a joist arrangement running longitudinally that purely sits on top and is bolted directly down to those bearers. You've got lateral bracings at every 1500, just between the outermost joist and the next joist along consecutively. You'll notice we've got post bracings included in this standard design, which has a gusset type plate at the bottom. That's made of FRP flat plate as well. That will be prefabricated and off the shelf from Treadwell's facilities, so it increases install time. But adapting this post arrangement means no anti-crush inserts are required here, as it does have plating structural bearing from both sides of the post. Our second standard design is the waterfall series system. So while this uses a very similar member sizes, it's typically used for track class 3 and 4, can be used in track class 1 and 2 as well, and adapts to a 3 kPa and a 5 kPa loading. Where you'd typically use waterfall series is where the boardwalk itself is intended to be lower to the ground for aesthetic purposes and the likes. So all the joists and bearers are in plane, which increases the amount of equal leg angles and connection points, which does in turn increase the install time slightly over that of the Brighton series, and does increase the costs of the raw materials slightly as well. Again, no anti-crush inserts are required with this system. There's typical 3 meters between pile centers, which is widespread across the standard design suite. But as I said, ideal for low level requirements or aesthetic boardwalks. Bit of a cross section here, so it utilizes the same methodology as Brighton, although the joists are in plane with the bearers. Everything beneath in terms of member size, footing requirements is in line with that of Brighton series. So these designs have been pre-engineered by our internal team, and they are available upon request, and we can implement these within a 3D model or send across as a general arrangement drawing. We are also working on implementing these as an IFC format or a Revit format, but that is an item to discuss further along the line. In terms of handrail or kick rail options, we offer three typical systems out of the FRP products. We have 2 types of handrail, being Grange series and Murray series, and an option for FRP kick rail only, which is typically the structures beneath 1 meter in height. So here are our 2 handrail options, Murray series being a typical top rail, mid rail, and stanchion arrangement. You can achieve AS 1428 compliance by adding a grab rail, which offsets from the stanchions. And our Grange series is more of an infill or Hampton style handrail, implementing mini C-channel slats, which are riveted onto the top rail and kick rail. Again, we can achieve AS 1428 compliance by the addition of a stainless steel grab rail. Typical connection for a FRP kick rail is relatively straightforward. Simply 1 bolt through to the outermost joist, being a C-channel or PFC style section, and FRP flat plates, 10 mil thick, spaced out at approximately 2 to 3 meters. This means that any debris or leaf maintenance, if you're blowing or washing the structures down, allows for any leaf litter and the likes to pass underneath and not get stuck beneath the kick rail. Typical connections and details like so can be supplied upon request as well. So all of our standard designs, obviously all the connections are bolted. There's no welding or anything like that with FRP, of course, but our standard designs follow the guidelines under the ACMA and the ASCE standards. So both of these guidelines are recognised under Australian and New Zealand conditions, loadings under AS 1170, for example. The particular standards can be downloaded off their relevant websites for a fee. The most recent ASCE standard can be downloaded for, I think, about 80 AUD. So relatively cost-effective option there if you were looking to design your own structures in FRP. But all of the standard designs follow those standards. Typical bolt sizing is about M12 and M16. Majority of the structures use an M12 bolt size, and the brackets or the ELAs that are connecting joist to bearer are typically 10 mil thickness, 10 mil wall thickness, that is. In terms of typical footing details, so our standard designs utilize a off-the-shelf stainless steel base plate, excuse me, and this typically connects to a concrete footing or similar. Can be adapted, of course, to suit a micro pile or a steel screw pile. There have been many options that have adopted to our standard design arrangement, but the beauty of this base plate is that it is stocked on the shelf to suit our standard design, so it's readily available. It doesn't need to be custom made to suit the requirements. Just on that, in terms of civil design or sign off on the civil or footing front, it's typically out of Treadwell's scope of works. However, we're happy to offer assistance or answer any questions you may have or offer guidance. However, Treadwell's responsibilities would typically relay from the base plate up on a boardwalk structure. Just touching on some of the case studies that we've done utilising the standard designs. So the Sturt River Linear Park Boardwalk adopts the Brighton series arrangement with the bearers on the base, inner joist being a wide flange beam or an I-beam, and two PFC or C-channel sections on the exterior. So the full structural arrangement is made from our architect's FRP profiles and an FRP Greytex mini mesh used as the decking component. Typical standard designs are based off 30 or 38 mil thick mini mesh, depending on the load applied. In this particular scenario, the stainless steel base plates are also used connecting to concrete pads as the footings. Waterfall Gully. So this is where the Waterfall series design was named after, up at Waterfall Gully in beautiful Mount Lofty region of South Australia. So this particular design required track class 3 and 4 compliance. And as mentioned earlier, all the joists and bearers are in plane. The Arno Bay Boardwalk, in a challenging and harsh coastal environment, of course. The District Council of Cleve adopted the Brighton series arrangement. So this utilised a shorefoot footing, so a suitable micropile for this environment, being sensitive vegetation amongst the dunes, and a bearer and joist arrangement straight on top of that. Track class 3 and 4, and only a 3 kPa loading with kick rail. I'll now take any questions. I'm sorry, I'll just stop sharing so I can access it. But if anyone's got any questions as to our standard designs, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'm happy to take any. I just got a question come in about shared path boardwalks. I assume that's in relevance to bike safe and wheelchair compliance. So a lot of our standard designs have been implemented to resolve these requests or are implemented within those applications. So yes, we have. I can name a few in Queensland. including the Tallebudgera foreshore, not a specific standard design. Many up in the far North Queensland region as well. But yeah, happy to share some case studies if you require. Just got a question: would we normally provide reaction loads if footing designed by others for the structure? Yes, that is correct. Got a question coming in: can the product support wheel loads or horse hooves? Good question. The product itself can be with relevant engineering. The particular loads will consider specific structural actions under AS 1170. However, we might need to do a specific test for a specific wheel load or a horse loading, but we do have experience in those applications in the past. When are rails required to be installed on a boardwalk? Good question. It depends on the exact track class you're trying to achieve, but typically would need to install a handrail over 1 metre in height. Thanks everyone for joining. I'll send out an email personally after this with any requests you may have. Feel free to respond to that and I can share follow-up information or technical data sheets. I'm more than willing. Thanks guys.